Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing something feels wrong. The air smells different. The horizon looks unfamiliar. Satellites begin sending impossible images back to Earth, where there was once endless blue covering more than 70% of our planet. There is now nothing. No waves, no tides, no oceans, just silence. In a single unexplainable moment, every drop of water from Earth's oceans vanishes. No explosions, no warning, just gone. At first, people celebrate. Coastal cities cheer as shorelines stretch endlessly outward. Ships sit gently on dry seabeds, perfectly intact. Divers walk where whales once ruled. The ocean floor, hidden from humanity for millions of years, is suddenly exposed like a scar ripped open. But the celebration lasts only minutes. Because the oceans were never just water. They were the heartbeat of the planet. Within hours, the first signs of disaster begin to appear. The air pressure across Earth changes violently. Winds that once relied on ocean temperature differences lose their balance. Jet streams collapse, then reform chaotically. Hurricanes don't fade, they transform into continent-wide windstorms, ripping across land with nothing to slow them down. Then comes the heat. Oceans stored over 90% of Earth's excess heat. Without them, the planet can no longer regulate temperature. Days become brutally hot, nights turn freezing cold. Coastal regions that once had mild weather swing to extremes. Crops fail within weeks. Soil dries, cracks, and turns to dust. Rain stops falling, not slowly, almost completely, because oceans were the source of nearly all Earth's rainfall. Without evaporation, clouds thin and disappear. Rivers begin shrinking from the inside out. Lakes retreat like dying breaths. Freshwater reserves, once replenished by rainfall, become finite, fragile, and fought over within days. Global panic erupts. Governments scramble to understand what happened, but science has no answer. Desalination plants sit useless beside empty basins. Fishing industries collapse instantly, wiping out food sources for billions. Entire cultures built around the seaports, trade routes, naval defenses become obsolete overnight. And then, the ground starts to move. The ocean once pressed down on Earth's crust with unimaginable force. Remove that weight, and the planet begins to rebound. Tectonic plates shift. Fault lines awaken. Earthquakes ripple across continents in places that never experienced them before. Volcanoes erupt in chains, releasing gases that were once absorbed by seawater. Carbon dioxide skyrockets. The oceans were Earth's largest carbon sink. Without them, greenhouse gases accumulate rapidly. The atmosphere thickens. Temperatures climb higher each year. Ice caps melt faster, dumping fresh water into nowhere because there is nowhere for it to go. Sea life doesn't die, it disappears instantly. Every fish, every whale, every plankton organism that produced half the oxygen you breathed gone. Oxygen levels begin to drop slowly, invisibly. Not enough to suffocate humanity immediately, but enough to weaken ecosystems one by one. Forests follow. Without stable rainfall, massive forests dry out and burn. Fires rage uncontrollably across continents, releasing even more carbon into the air. The sky darkens. Sunsets turn blood red, filtered through smoke and dust. Human survival becomes regional, then local, then personal. Cities empty as water becomes the most valuable substance on Earth. Wars are no longer fought over oil or borders, but over rivers and underground aquifers. Underground bunkers become lifelines. Technology regresses as global supply chains shatter, and the ocean floor once hidden reveals something terrifying. Massive methane deposits, once trapped beneath cold seawater, begin releasing into the atmosphere. Methane, far more potent than carbon dioxide, accelerates global warming at an unstoppable pace. Temperatures surge beyond historical records. Entire regions become uninhabitable. The planet begins to resemble Mars. But faster, within decades, Earth loses its blue identity entirely. Clouds are rare. Rain is legendary. Children grow up hearing stories about waves, like myths. Humanity adapts smaller populations, underground cities, recycled water systems, but the world is no longer alive. It is surviving, and the cruelest truth finally becomes clear. The oceans were not just part of Earth. They were Earth. Without them, the planet doesn't explode. It doesn't shatter. It slowly, relentlessly, forgets how to live. And if the oceans were ever to return, the world they once supported would never be the same again. Years pass, but the planet doesn't stabilize. It unravels. Without oceans to absorb solar energy, Earth's rotation begins to subtly change. Days grow slightly shorter, then irregular. Time itself feels unstable. Satellites struggle to maintain orbit as atmospheric density shifts unpredictably. Communication blackouts become common. GPS fails. The modern world loses its sense of direction. The exposed ocean floor becomes a nightmare landscape. Deep trenches stretch for thousands of kilometers. Deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Entire mountain ranges, taller than anything on land, rise from the seabed. Volcanoes once hidden under miles of water, now standing naked against the sky. Toxic minerals leach into the air. Salt plains expand endlessly, reflecting sunlight so intensely they blind pilots and scorch nearby land. Salt becomes a curse. Winds pick up billions of tons of salt dust from the dry seabed and carry it across continents. Crops that somehow survive the drought are poisoned. Soil turns sterile. Breathing the air becomes painful in coastal regions. Entire cities are abandoned, not because of water shortage, but because the air itself burns lungs. Human migration reaches a scale never seen before. Borders collapse under pressure. Nations fracture. Communities retreat inward. Technology is no longer about innovation, it's about endurance. Solar energy becomes unreliable due to constant dust clouds. Nuclear power stations shut down one by one as cooling systems fail without access to water. Then something unexpected happens. Life refuses to disappear quietly. In underground caves, in deep rock fissures, extremophile bacteria evolve rapidly. Microbial ecosystems adapt to heat, radiation, and toxic air. These organisms begin altering underground chemistry, releasing gases, creating strange mineral formations. Earth is changing, not dying, mutating, but humans are running out of time. Freshwater becomes mythically rare. Every drop is measured, recycled, worshipped. Children are taught never to spill water. Tears are wiped away immediately. Entire belief systems form around water preservation. Some societies criminalize crying. Above ground, the sky grows thicker and darker. Without ocean circulation to regulate carbon, the atmosphere traps heat aggressively. Average global temperatures climb past survivable thresholds. Skin burns within minutes in direct sunlight. People adapt by living nocturnally, emerging only at night when temperatures drop just enough to function. Animals vanish, not in dramatic extinctions, but in silence. Birds disappear, first no wind patterns, no food chains. Mammals follow. Insects die in billions, collapsing the final support beams of ecosystems. Pollination ends. Natural reproduction becomes rare outside human-controlled environments. Earth's magnetic field weakens. Scientists discover the oceans once played a role in stabilizing internal heat flow. Without them, Earth's core dynamics shift. Solar radiation penetrates deeper. Cancer rates soar. Electronics fail more frequently. The planet becomes increasingly hostile not violently, but persistently. Then comes the final betrayal, glaciers. What little freshwater ice remains begins melting uncontrollably, but instead of restoring balance, it worsens the crisis. Meltwater floods low-lying regions briefly, then evaporates rapidly, leaving behind toxic sediments. Temporary rivers form and vanish within weeks. Hope rises, then dies again. Humanity fractures into timelines. Some believe the oceans will return. They build coastal monuments facing empty horizons, praying to invisible tides. Others abandon the surface entirely, retreating underground, where temperature and radiation can be controlled. A few attempt the unthinkable. Artificial oceans. Massive sealed basins filled with recycled water are constructed, not for beauty, but for survival. Scientists reintroduce algae and plankton, desperately trying to restore oxygen production. These artificial seas become humanity's lungs. Entire cities are built around them. But it's not enough, because oceans were never just water in a container. They were movement, circulation, depth, pressure, time. Generations are born who have never seen a wave, never heard rain hit the sea, never smelled salt carried by wind. To them, ocean is a word from history, like dragon or magic. And slowly, humanity realizes something terrifying. Earth no longer belongs to us. We are guests on a planet that tolerated us only when it was alive. Now, it is something else. Something harsher, stranger, less forgiving. And somewhere beneath the cracked surface, beneath the exposed scars of a drained world, something ancient stirs, released from pressure it had endured for millions of years. Not water, but consequences.